It was a crisp Saturday morning when I woke up thinking it was going to be like any other birthday. Mom had always loved to celebrate quietly with close family, balloons scattered around the living room, and her favorite vanilla cake waiting on the counter. I had arrived early to help set up, balloons in hand, streamers clumsily draped along the walls, my hair still messy from sleep. Everything felt normal. Ketty, my daughter, was already upstairs in her room. She was 10 years old now, smart and fiercely independent, a child who could hold her own in any argument. She often disappeared into her world of books and drawings, but I had expected her to come down for breakfast and say the usual cheerful, "Happy birthday, Grandma." The morning passed in the usual chaos. Mom laughing over spilled juice, me attempting to wrap presents neatly, guests slowly arriving. Ketty was still missing, which wasn't too unusual. I thought she might be hiding somewhere, plotting a small surprise for her grandmother. Then my phone rang. At first, I thought it was one of the guests confirming they had arrived. But when I saw Ketty's name flashing across the screen, my heart skipped a beat. She never called me like this. She preferred texting, leaving little notes or hiding messages under my pillow. I answered, trying to sound cheerful. "Hey honey, are you ready to come down and say hi to Grandma?" Her voice came through, trembling but urgent. "Mom, get out of the house. Now." I froze. The words cut through me, sharp and sudden. What? What are you talking about? Get out. Don't ask questions. Just go," she shouted. The line went dead before I could reply. My stomach churned. This wasn't a joke. Ketty's voice was panicked, scared, something I had never heard before. I turned around, looking at the living room filled with people, laughter still echoing, unaware of the sudden tension that gripped me. Everything felt fragile, like a thin layer of ice ready to crack. I rushed to the staircase, calling up to her. "Ketty, what's going on? Are you okay?" No answer. Just the silence of the empty hallway. I felt panic rising. My first instinct was to assume she had imagined something, perhaps a bad dream or a trick of her imagination. But her voice had sounded too real, too urgent. Maybe she saw something outside, I muttered to myself, trying to calm my racing heart. I grabbed my coat, preparing to step outside, and that's when I noticed it. Our front door slightly ajar. It shouldn't have been. I was certain I had locked it before everyone arrived. My pulse quickened. The room that had been cheerful and full of life minutes ago now felt alien, menacing. I called out again, louder this time, "Ketty, where are you?" No response. I felt a sudden chill crawl up my spine. Something was wrong. This wasn't a game, a prank, or imagination. Whatever Ketty had seen, whatever she knew, it was serious. I glanced around at the familiar faces, all still smiling and unaware. My hands trembled as I realized that if I didn't act fast, I could be too late. And then, from the back of the house, a faint creaking sound, like someone walking slowly across the floor, made my blood run cold. I knew I couldn't wait any longer. I had to find Ketty. But as I reached for the hallway, I remembered her voice again. "Get out of the house. Now." And a terrible thought struck me. What if it wasn't safe for me to stay? I froze in the hallway, my hands still hovering near the doorframe. The creaking sound stopped as suddenly as it had begun, leaving an eerie silence that made the laughter and chatter from the living room feel distant, almost unreal. My mind raced. What could Ketty have seen? I called her name again, my voice shaking. "Ketty, please answer me." No reply. Panic began to gnaw at me. 10 years old, brave as she might be, she had never called me like that, never sounded so terrified. Something was seriously wrong. I could feel it in the way my heart thumped against my chest. I took a careful step forward, scanning the hallway. Family photos lined the walls. Smiling faces frozen in time. A picture-perfect history that now felt tauntingly normal in contrast to the fear twisting my stomach. I noticed something strange. One of the frames had fallen to the floor. Not entirely unusual with kids running around, I thought, but the glass was shattered, sharp fragments glinting under the morning light. I knelt to pick it up, and that's when I noticed the tiny scrap of paper wedged behind the frame. My pulse quickened. It wasn't part of the frame or any decoration. It was a note, scrawled in Ketty's handwriting. "Don't look. Just leave. Now." My hands trembled. That was the same urgent, panicked tone in her call. I stuffed the note into my pocket and moved toward the staircase, calling again, "Ketty, where are you?" "I'm coming." No response. I reached the top of the stairs and peered into her room. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it gently, heart hammering. The room was empty. Her bed neatly made, her toys scattered in their usual places. Nothing seemed out of place except the window. It was wide open, curtains fluttering in the breeze. I rushed to it, looking down into the backyard. Everything seemed normal, calm even. No one was there. My heart sank. Had she gone outside? Where could she have run? A sudden sound made me spin around, the bedroom door closing behind me. I froze. No one was there. The room was empty. I reached for my phone again, dialing her number. It went straight to voicemail. My stomach twisted in fear. She's alone. She's scared. He's trying to protect me. I ran down the stairs to the living room, my eyes scanning the crowd. Guests were chatting, oblivious to the tension thickening the air. Mom looked at me with a curious smile. "Everything okay, honey?" I wanted to tell her to scream, but the words caught in my throat. "Mom, I think we need to leave. Now." Her smile faltered. What? It's just a party." I shook my head. "Something's wrong. Kedichi called me," she said. Before I could finish, another sound froze me in place. The back door creaking open slowly. A shadow passed across the floor. I spun around. The backyard was empty, the snow untouched. Yet the sound had come from outside, not inside the house. I could feel my pulse racing faster than ever. Something or someone was out there. And suddenly, I realized I didn't know if I was running to find Ketty, or running from whatever she had seen. That I grabbed my coat and slipped on my shoes, my fingers trembling as I tried to steady my breath. The backyard door had creaked again, the sound echoing in the living room like a warning. My guests still chatted happily, completely unaware of the dread creeping through me. "Mom, stay here," I said sharply, my voice trembling. "I need to check outside." She looked at me, confused and worried. "Clara, what are you talking about?" I shook my head. "Just trust me. I'll be back." I stepped outside, snow crunching beneath my boots. The yard was still and quiet, the kind of silence that makes every small sound terrifying. I scanned the area, but no one was there. No shadow, no footprints, nothing. My eyes drifted to the far corner of the yard, near the old garden shed. A dark figure seemed to flicker for just a second. My stomach lurched. I took a hesitant step forward, then another. "Ketty," I called softly, my voice cracking. No answer. I remembered the note in my pocket. "Mom, don't look. Just leave. Now." Why would she say that if there was nothing dangerous? My heart pounded harder. Something or someone was out here. I could feel it. I rounded the side of the shed and froze. There she was. Ketty. Her eyes were wide with fear and her small hands clutched something tightly. She took a step back when she saw me. "Mom, you have to leave," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. "What's going on, honey?" "Why?" I asked, my heart racing. She shook her head, tears glistening on her cheeks. "It's him. He's here." I frowned. "Who's here? What do you mean?" Her grip on my hand tightened. "I don't know, but he's watching. I saw him in the window. He's outside. Mom, please, we need to go." A chill ran down my spine. I followed her eyes toward the house. The lights in the living room flickered briefly, then went back to normal. "Stay here," I said firmly. I felt a mixture of fear and protectiveness. No matter what this was, I wouldn't let it touch Ketty. I edged toward the sliding door to peek inside. The living room was empty, yet I felt a presence. My heart raced. Every instinct screamed danger. Then I heard it, a low, deliberate creak from the upstairs hallway. Someone was moving inside. I grabbed Ketty's hand. "We have to get out. Now." She nodded, eyes wide, and we ran toward the side gate. Snow crunched under our boots as we disappeared into the darkness. As we reached the alley behind the house, I finally allowed myself to breathe for a second. But then a shadow passed in the corner of my eye. I whipped around. The backyard was empty. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Whoever, or whatever, Ketty had seen inside, it hadn't left. We ran through the alley, snow crunching beneath our boots, my mind racing faster than my legs. Ketty clung to my hand, her small fingers cold and trembling. I tried to calm her, but my own heart was hammering like a drum in my chest. "Mom, he's following us," she whispered, panic in her voice. I stopped dead in my tracks. What do you mean? Who's following us? She shook her head, eyes wide with fear. I don't know. I just know he's there. He doesn't want us to leave. He's angry. The wind whipped around us, carrying the faint sound of distant laughter, one that sounded too familiar, too close. I grabbed her coat and pulled her closer. Listen to me, Ketty. We're not going back in there. We need to call Dad or someone, anyone. But my phone had no signal. My heart sank. The tiny glowing screen reflected the panic in her eyes, but no bars meant no help. I tried to think. What could she have possibly seen inside the house that would make her this terrified? And why had she called me so urgently? We ducked behind a dumpster, catching our breath, snowflakes melting into our hair. I pressed her small body against mine, whispering, "It's okay, honey. We're safe. We just need to stay calm and think." She looked up at me, tears running down her cheeks. Mom. I saw his eyes. He wasn't human. I swear it. I swallowed hard. Her words made no sense. My logical mind screamed that she was imagining things, but the tone, the terror in her voice told me otherwise. I had never seen Ketty this frightened. Something shifted in the darkness. A movement caught my eye at the far end of the alley. A shadow tall and still watching us. I felt my stomach twist. That's when I realized it. The shadow wasn't moving naturally. It was gliding, almost like it was floating just above the ground. My breath caught. Mom, he's coming closer, Kitty whimpered, pressing herself against my side. I grabbed a loose stick from the ground, holding it like a weapon, trying to summon courage I didn't feel. Stay behind me, Kitty. Whatever this is, we will face it together. The shadow moved again, sliding closer, and I could make out the faint outline of a figure. A man. But his features were distorted, impossible. His face seemed to flicker in and out, sometimes human, sometimes not. I realized then why Ketty had screamed at me to get out of the house. Whatever had been watching her, whatever had been inside, it wasn't just a threat to her. It was a threat to me. To both of us. I felt my pulse spike, my body trembling. There was no way we could outrun this, not in the dark alley, not with snow slowing our steps. And then Ketty whispered, her voice barely audible. Mom, he's smiling. I turned just in time to see it, an impossible, terrifying grin stretching across his face. It was inhuman, cruel, and full of malice. I knew one thing for certain. This wasn't over. Whatever we had run from, it had followed us. And it wasn't going to stop until we were gone. Or worst, we crouched behind the dumpster, hearts pounding as the shadowy figure glided closer. Its distorted grin and flickering form made my blood run cold. Ketty clung to me, trembling, whispering, "It's coming for us." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to think. Panic would get us nowhere. I scanned the alley, looking for any possible escape route, but the tall walls on either side offered no way out. The snow muffled the sounds of the neighborhood, making our isolation feel absolute. Suddenly, a voice, soft, familiar, echoed through the darkness. "Clara." My stomach sank. That was my voice in my head. But no, it came from the shadow. Then I realized, it wasn't calling me, it was repeating something Ketty had said earlier. Get out of the house." Ketty clutched my hand tighter. "Mom." That's what I said. But he heard me. I shivered. Somehow, this presence had been inside the house while we celebrated Mom's birthday. Somehow, it had heard Ketty's warning. A sudden movement behind us made me spin around. From the alley's other end, a figure emerged, tall, cloaked in shadow, but unmistakably human, or nearly so. My mind struggled to reconcile what I was seeing. The eyes, deep and hollow, locked onto ours. The smile, the same cruel grin from the backyard, spread wider. I realized the horrifying truth. This wasn't random. This had followed us, waited for the right moment. And Ketty's instinct, her panic, had saved us so far. I whispered to her, "Stay calm, honey. We're going to run to the street and we're not looking back." We bolted, snow spraying from our boots, hearts hammering. The figure moved faster than possible, gliding almost effortlessly, cutting off any chance of escape. But as we neared the main street, lights flickered on, and neighbors began emerging, shouting in confusion. The presence paused, almost hesitant. I realized it feared exposure. The power it had inside the house, in the shadows, diminished in the light of the living world. Ketty and I collapsed on the street, gasping for breath, adrenaline pumping through our veins. The figure retreated, melting back into the darkness, but I knew it hadn't gone forever. Later, when police and neighbors arrived, we explained as best we could. No one saw anything. No one else had felt the presence inside the house. Ketty's call, her urgency, had been the only reason we were safe. That night, as we finally returned home with the front door locked, I hugged Ketty tightly. "You saved us," I whispered. She looked up, eyes still wide with fear. "Mom, it's not over. He knows we're aware now. He's waiting." I shivered, realizing she was right. Whoever, or whatever, had been inside that house had been listening. Watching. And now, by alerting me, Ketty had exposed us both. I pulled her close. "Then we'll be ready. Together. No one gets between us." As we settled in for the night, every shadow in the house seemed to stretch longer, every creak louder. My mind replayed the call, her words echoing, "Get out now." And I knew deep down that the house would never feel safe again. Some dangers don't announce themselves. Some shadows wait, and some never leave. The photograph of Ketty calling me, the echo of her voice, those would stay with me forever. Because some warnings once heard cannot be ignored.